What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. We're on to our team previews. I'm going to be doing them without any rhyme or reason, just because I kind of like, bouncing around doing different teams on different days, depending upon, how my mood feels. But we're going to start today with the Florida Panthers. Definitely one of the most active teams in the offseason. It started off by trading Erica Branson to Vancouver in exchange for Jared McCann, and then, they re-signed Aaron Ekblad. They added Keith Yandel, added Mark Pysyk in a trade for Dmitry Kulikov, signed Jason Demers, signed James Reimer, and just been really one of the most active teams all off season. We'll start with the goaltending position. Obviously, they gave Reimer a 5-year deal, and Luongo's still signed for now till eternity, but Luongo's not going to play forever. He's 37. He'll be 38 by the time the Stanley Cup playoffs roll around next year. Having an insurance policy like James Reimer, I think, is a smart move for them. Reimer's shown he can play, at a high level for stretches of time. And, I think, again, Luongo's coming off that injury. If he's not good to go at the start of the season, you have Reimer to turn to early. And then, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whenever Luongo retires, you have Reimer right there to kind of step in and be, an in his prime goalie that can kind of take the ball and proverbially run with it, to go with a football reference. Again, they had a Rito Berra in the trade for Rocco Grimaldi. I don't know what we're going to see out of Berra, if anything. I think he'll be in Portland most of the year, which kind of defeats the purpose of trading for him. But, hey, what do I know? Again, Luongo, I think he'll be ready to start the season, but, you never know. And Reimer is one of the best insurance policies to have in the league. Going a step further, defense. Definitely one of the better decors in the NHL right now. And I think, when you have a 20-year-old stud like Aaron Ekblad as your number one, everything kind of just falls into place. And, I think having him, sign long-term, there's a peace of mind. There's going to be no, questions about, is he committed to this team? No, he's committed. He wants to be there. Likewise, they went out, they signed Keith Yandel, traded for, then signed. They gave up an asset not knowing if he'd be willing to sign there, but they made a good enough pitch to him. Like, look, we get a team that can win. Our power play can really use you. You think about last year, one of their Achilles heels, if you will. They had the 23rd ranked power play in the NHL. So, you add Keith Yandel, who's a natural power play quarterback. He's replacing Brian Campbell, and Campbell was a great Panther for, a few, how many years is it? 5 years. But, it's time for both sides to move on. You got a capable replacement, a younger, 7 years younger replacement in Yandel, and I think, that he's going to help take that team to the next level. They were an Atlantic Division champion last year, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. But, I think now they're looking to be, make the jump from, sleeper, young, up-and-coming team to a legitimate contender. And, when you add pieces like Keith Yandel, even Jason Demers, you add guys like that to a pretty good decor, with Petrovic, and I think Michael Matheson is going to be huge for them next year. He's getting that more young legs on that blue line. They're definitely going to be a force to watch on defense, and they'll be really intriguing to your group, because I think Ekblad will be a Norris Trophy finalist to go next year, the year after. So there's that. And then up front, obviously the big story last year was, Jaromir Jagr having a renaissance at 43. But, he's not the only, guy that drives that team. Sasha Barkov at age 20 was amazing last season. I think he's going to take a couple steps forward and continue to grow and develop. They got Vincent Trocheck locked up. Nick Bjugstad's locked up. Riley Smith is locked up. Huberdeau, I think they'll sign at some point during the season to a nice long-term extension. And, one guy I think is an intriguing fit in this mix is Jared McCann. He came over from Vancouver, obviously, in the Goodbranson trade. Hot take right here. I don't think there's a guarantees on the opening night roster. I think you look at the moves the team made and how much deeper they are up front. There's no guarantee that Krause is, we'll talk about Lawson Krause in a minute, that McCann is cracking the opening night roster in Florida. And starting the year in the minors may not be a bad thing for him, because, I think at times he looked a little, overmatched, if you will, in Vancouver, and I think, he's playing on a much deeper, much better, much more competitive team. So, we'll see what happens with him, but I think he's a guy that, his development could be better off for going to Florida, for going to a deep team, maybe spending some time in the AHL, and then, coming up and being a really kind of different player from having that experience, because, the bullshit junior rule rule. I don't know why rule is, you can't play in the AHL at 19 if you're drafted out of junior, if your birthday is after December 31st. So it's like, really? He should have been in the AHL last year. I think that would have been better for him. He'd proven he had done everything he could at the junior level, and at times, again, with Vancouver, he looked overmatched. So, he's getting a clean slate with Florida. I think he's going to be, a guy that really has a nice role with him long term. But, we'll see how that long term gets started with him next season. Another guy that has a bright long term future, but I don't think will be on the opening night roster is Lawson Krause. I think he'll be back in Kingston. That's not a bad. He's a first round pick, very good, very talented, young power forward. Gives you some size and tenacity up front, but I think he'll be a guy that goes back to junior, lights it up, and then a year from now is ready to make that jump. But we'll see what happens with that front. I think the rookie to watch is going to be Mike Matheson. He's still technically a rookie. I believe I'll check that right now just to make sure I don't think it's a little fool. But between him and Ekblad, both those guys, by the way, own power play with CJ shirts, and you should too. So get on that. But seriously, like I look at Matheson. I say, you look at all the years they sucked. The one year they were pretty good. He was there at 23 in 2012, and they were able to draft him. And I think he's going to be a big part of their future as an all-situation defenseman, a great lefty complement to Aaron Ekblad. I mean, he played 3 regular season games and played, essentially played 5 to 6 playoff games, and did not look out of place in any of them. So. I think he's going to be a guy you hear a lot about next year as well. So, question right now, will they be in the playoffs? Absolutely. Will they win the Atlantic Division? I firmly believe that. And I'll do my league preview later on, but right now, they're definitely one of the teams I see that could win the Eastern Conference. And if I had to bet right now, they'd be my Eastern Conference favorite. I'm not picking them just yet. Let's see how these pieces come together. But if this team comes together, like I think it will, I think they'll be playing playoff hockey long into May in South Florida. So anyway, that's all I got in this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the off season and beyond. Later, guys.